Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Laces Out podcast, and it's time for the big one. Super Bowl. It's time for the Super Bowl. We've got guests, we've got predictions, we've got snacks. Not on the pod. No, we're talking about snacks. And we are predicting all elements of what we think is going to go down in the Super Bowl. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. And one of the last chances to share the American football, the Laces Out podcast around. So if you know someone who's into the American football, send this podcast their way. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast. Laces Out.
Recording in progress.
Oh my word. It's happening, guys. It's happening. It's actually happening. It's happening. It's happening. It's here. It's here. In some hours, we will be enjoying the finest Taylor Swift concert we've ever seen on TV. There will also that tour thing's going on. Is it Disney Plus or something? Was that what you were going to allude to?
No.
No?
I thought, is it the best Taylor Swift concert because you won't be singing?
Oh, I am with you.
I nearly choked on my nachos there trying to get that joke out.
It's going to be like a
He's
London
like, chew
Olympics.
faster.
She'll arrive just in the nick of time because she'll descend from a helicopter above the stadium and like rappel from it or something. She's
Rappel?
just back from Japan.
She doesn't want any attention though.
No. Obviously, we spoke about this last time. In fact, let's start again. This is CookieCast. This is the Laces Out podcast. For you audio listeners out there, I am here. My glamorous co-host, Mr. Paul Williams, is here. And you've already heard other voices, which could only mean that somebody managed to get us some guests, didn't they, Paul? So joining us is the absolute master of the wrestling ring, the leader of the Getting Over podcast, Mr. Stuart Woodmansey. How are you?
Oh.
Are you prepped, ready? Do you have...
I am more prepped for the food element than the actual game.
Oh, he's gone straight in with the bit we all know we're focused on more than the game. We'll get to that though, because as I said last week, I'm using maths for this one. And Nottingham Forest's number 36th fan, Matthew Morris here. Because let's face it, there's a lot of fans.
For this podcast, would it not have been better for him to have been the 49th fan?
I didn't read the script for the Super Bowl. Anyway, we'll not get into any of that until the predictions come up. So, it is that time of year. Some say the best. Some, who are glass half full kind of people, say the worst time of year. Because although we get to enjoy the Super Bowl, we also have to, as I like to say, after 6 seasons of doing this, we have to put our toys back in the toy box and put the toy box back in the attic for another season. It is Super Bowl era, Super Bowl time, and we are here to discuss what that means for us. Our snack helmets are brimming. So, we decided we're going to start with a little bit of something. We're doing it differently. There's nothing to go through from last week. There's no stats from last week. None of that stuff. So, we're gonna mix it up a little bit. I'm going to talk about how your San Francisco 49ers stack up against the Kansas City Chiefs. With a little graph that the stats mistress sent to me, it looks a little bit like this. And she said, you don't need to go through them all. I'm just sending you this because this is how, on paper, the two teams stack up against each other. So, for example, total yards per game. San Francisco 49ers, 398.4 versus the Kansas City Chiefs, 351.3. Rushing yards per game, 140.5 to the 49ers, 104.9.
At least 50% of that has got to be CMC, surely.
We've got things like passing yards, first down. In fact, passing yards to complement the rushing yards. 269.2 to the 49ers, 257.8 to the Chiefs. So obviously we're starting to see that there's a bit of a... But it's when you get down into the lower end of the scale, when you start talking about things like interceptions thrown. The San Francisco 49ers, 12. Kansas City Chiefs, 17. Fumbles lost. 49ers, 6. Chiefs, 11. Punts per game, 49ers, 3.1. Chiefs, 3.5. The only one that's maybe not going to go too well is penalties per game. The 49ers just outweighing the Chiefs with a 5.9 versus a 5.6.
That's because we know the Chiefs have got the rest in their pocket.
Now, Matthew, let's not start that. It's not in the script. So there's just a little bit of something to look at as how the two teams, your two teams for the Super Bowl, stack up against each other. I do have a little game for us to play at some point, which just keeping it light. So, Paul, where would you like to go now?
Well, as is like customary with the podcast, obviously we usually make game week selections of the teams and whatnot. Obviously, with it just being the one game, a little bit challenging to just do that. So, rather than just pick the game, I've decided to do a similar format to what we did last year, in which we'll each pick 6 different things.
Nice.
Those 6 things being the team we believe will win, the final score of the game, the first touchdown scorer, the last touchdown scorer, the game's MVP, and everyone's favourite category, the most important category of all, what colour Gatorade will come out of the basin, tipped over the winning head coach. Now, as is always the case, I have the book in front of me. I therefore have my 6 selections written down in front of me. So would you like me to go through my 6 selections and then you lot can follow suit and give me yours, or do you want to do them one at a time, and we each go through and give our winning?
Yeah, so that there's no accusations of Shanahanigans or whatever. You give us, alternate through them. So if you want to go first, or get one of ours and then in the process give yours for the first one, and then
Should we keep the winning team till last though? That's like we do everything else and then.
I have got it at the top, but I can just do them in whatever order.
Because that seems like the
Yeah, so in that case, then
Yeah,
we'll try
then.
and do it in like
winning team and MVP last. Because
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah,
if you say
we'll try
your
and-
MVP,
we'll
it's
try and
probably
do it
going to
in,
give away the team you think's going to win.
Yeah, exactly. So if we try and do it in like somewhat of an order, so
Yeah.
who would like to offer up their choice for the first touchdown scorer?
I've already mentioned him once already, so CMC.
I too have gone Christian McCaffrey for the first touchdown scorer. Matt or Andy, do you care to broach a name?
I've gone for Pacheco.
Isaiah Pacheco. Oh God, how the hell? Excuse me.
I've definitely spelt it wrong. There's A's in
So-
there and E's in there, and I don't know how many A's or E's there are.
So for listeners of the CookieCast football podcast, thoroughly recommended for those of you who aren't watching / listening. Get yourselves over there. It's a laugh riot. But obviously, I should know how to spell the name Isaiah, as he plays for Middlesbrough quite a lot. So I should know how to spell his goddamn name.
Oh.
But is it A-I-A-H?
Isaiah, I-S.
Just like Pacheco, man. There's not two of them, is there? Come on.
I thought you were struggling spelling Pacheco. I was like, fine, I fully understand that. I didn't think
It was gonna be my time to shine, because as the dyslexic, I have the spelling for Pacheco right in front of me.
I was going to say, I have got it. I've got it from the annals of Sky Bet. So I can confirm that it is ISIAH. And I can confirm that is not how Senor Jones spells it for Middlesbrough. That's so. 2 for Christian McCaffrey, 1 for Isaiah Pacheco. Andy?
Travis Kelce.
Travis.
Is that going to be just in time as the helicopter passes? That's the
Yeah. So Travis Swift for the first touchdown scorer. Lovely.
Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe this is what it's going to be. So, like, you know, that all the stadiums have got their little intricacies. Like when the Bucs score at home, they set the cannons off. He's going to score the first touchdown in the Super Bowl, and she's going to like burst into a concert.
One thing we have all done here is we've all I think we've all had very, very short memories, and I'm pretty sure the last 2 times that the Chiefs have, or 2 out of the last 3 times that the Chiefs have been in the Super Bowl, their first touchdown has been scored by Patrick Mahomes rushing in, I believe, on at least 2 of the last 3. So the fact that none of us have gone for Mahomes to score a rushing touchdown,
I nearly did.
True.
I nearly had him down. I feared that Stu was going to beat me to my secret prediction for the Super Bowl there. I might need to get that out at some point soon. Unfortunately, I would have to give my winner, which we're not doing that at this moment in time.
Yeah, I think reading between the lines there, Mr. Cook, I believe I may be able to work out how he's picking game. But before we get there, let's go for the last touchdown scorer. So obviously Andy gave his prediction last for the first, so I'll come straight back to him for the last touchdown scorer.
Do you remember when I said I had Pacheco's name written down in front of me? Yeah. Pacheco for the last touchdown scorer, please.
For those of you watching along on the YouTube, you would have seen Mr. Woodmansey throw his arms up there, so I believe he's in agreement that the last touchdown scorer will be Mr. Pacheco.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to cover up the other stuff, but in the there you go. There was CMC as first and Pacheco just underneath as the last. It was already written down.
It was already written in the stars, some would say.
Matt?
I've gone for Brandon Ayuk.
Brandon Ayuk.
Hey?
I've gone for Travis Kelce for the last touchdown scorer. In my head, I was thinking it could be a situation where either the Chiefs are chasing the game and need the score, or are looking for the insurance score to put a bow on things. Either way, who's going to be your most likely target in the end zone or around the end zone? It's probably going to be Big Travie. Right. Let's go for the final score next, because that doesn't give away which way you've gone with the winner. So, I've gone 34-28. Big scoring. Someone care to venture a score?
I've gone 21-17.
Ooh.
Matt's gone 21-17. Andy, you were about to give us yours there.
31-24.
All of these so far are one-score games. No blowouts here. Stu?
It's another one that's closer to Matt's one, man. It's 24-17. There's just a field goal in it between himself and Mr. Moore.
So I've gone for a difference of 6 points. Andy and Stu have gone for a difference of 7 points. Matt with a difference of 4 points. Interesting that, because obviously the team that's chasing that wouldn't have the safety net of being able to kick the field goal to take it to overtime. They would have to get the touchdown to go ahead. Interesting. It's the one that most people have come for, but to leave the suspense of who we think will win the game, I'm going to go to the Gatorade shower colour for next. Now, some might say I'm cheating because I have 2 colours, but there is a reason for this, because the colour that I have picked is listed
Clear.
as one of 2 colours that Sky Bet would pay out under.
Clear or no shower.
Is that what you would like to go for?
No, I know that's one of the options where you get 2.
So, the options, as according to Sky Bet, other betting options are available. So, we have clear, blue, purple, orange, yellow/green, red/pink. Anyone care to venture an option?
Well,
I've gone. Go on, I'll let Stu go.
as both teams' home colour is red, it makes sense that it would be red to me. So I've gone for red.
So Stu is having red, and I will give you the /pink as that is stated on Sky Bet. And that is the 5-2 favourite. There you go. Matthew, what were you going to go for?
I've gone for yellow.
Okay, so that would be green/yellow.
Yellow. My theory is they're in Las Vegas, thinking goldy yellow kind of thing, kind of fitting in with that Vegas yellow
Surely
gold.
That's it. If it's Vegas, clear would be the way to go, because it won't be Gatorade. It'll just be vodka. I too have selected green stroke yellow, which unfortunately for me and you, Matt, is the 4-1 fourth favourite. Andrew, dare I suggest you might be sticking purple in the mix?
Year in, year out, it's purple every time. However, I have a feeling that purple was last year's. So I actually got the point for last year.
Purple was indeed last year's colour.
So knowing that, I have gone with what could be considered the most boring of options. I've gone with orange.
Orange. The 11-4 second favourite of orange.
I mean, I'll obviously be putting money on both, but you know.
Yeah, just to clarify that, so red/pink 5-2, orange 11-4, purple 7-2, yellow/green 4-1, blue 9-2, clear 7-1. That's got to be worth a fiver of anyone's money. That.
Oh, the blue, when you said blue, I was like, ooh, the blue one sounds good.
Blue drink, classic blue drink. It's full of vitamins, full of nutrition.
In that naturally occurring colour.
Real raspberry flavour.
He's never seen a raspberry in his life.
So, we've done the score, we've done the first and last touchdown scorers, we've done the Gatorade shower. Do we want to do game MVP? Or do we want to do we want to save the winning team till last?
Does it not have to be the team first because you can't have an MVP from a losing team?
And you just got to go with both, don't we? Just say both.
It has happened once before.
I know it has.
Came from the losing team, but
Yeah.
we're talking once in 57 years.
Yeah.
So I think it's very unlikely, unless one of the quarterbacks has an absolute ripper. To be honest, the year that should have been the case was the year that the Eagles won the Super Bowl, but Brady had thrown for 500 yards or whatever.
Yeah.
He should have won the MVP. That, to be fair.
They don't do it, do they? It's that kind of thing of like, even you watch a game on the TV and like a football game, and one player on another team has an absolute awesome game, but they lose, so they give it to the player on the other team, and you're like, on the team that won. It's always going to go to somebody who wins, unless something absolutely like insane happens. So like, I don't know, CMC goes for like 250 yards with like 4 touchdowns, but still manages to lose.
True. So, I don't know if this is going to sway any of you, but at the start of the season, when you each made your Super Bowl predictions, Andy went for a Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl with the Chiefs to win and Mahomes to be the game MVP. Matt went for a Bills 49ers Super Bowl with the Niners to win and Joey Bosa to be the game MVP. And Stu went for a Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl with the 49ers to win the game and Christian McCaffrey to be the MVP. Is that a flavour of how you may be picking the game? Andrew, for those listening to the podcast, is very much nodding his head. So, am I putting down the Kansas City Chiefs to win the game and Patrick Mahomes to be the game MVP?
Yeah, so what I've got down here is winning team, the Chiefs, sorry, and MVP being the Mahomes. Now I will say this. Earlier today, I had Kelsey down as the MVP. But it just comes down to the fact that I don't think Kelsey can achieve MVP status without Mahomes doing his job. So I just defaulted back to what turns out is my original pick.
You will be utterly shocked to hear that the 6-5 favourite for the Super Bowl MVP is Patrick Mahomes. I too have picked Patrick Mahomes for the game MVP, as I have picked the Chiefs to win 34-28. Just you two boys left. One of you wearing the Niners shirt and one of you not wearing the Niners shirt.
Ironically, the guy who's not strictly the Niners fan wearing the shirt as well. But,
yeah. Well, I was going to say, technically, as it's Matt's team, we need to let him go last, don't we?
well,
You didn't get what was your prediction for the start of the season?
Mine, I shit the bed straight away. So I think I've covered this in my previous week's podcast. Mine, I was the first one who was completely out of it. So I had the Bengals versus the Eagles. So one of them didn't even make the postseason.
there was a small part of me that was hoping that Matt was asking because he knew that you shat the bed, because I did. I was like, oh, here we go.
I mean, I'd guessed by the fact that it wasn't mentioned, but I just thought we needed clarification on that going into the Super Bowl.
Okay, well, yeah, it is Matt's team, so I'll jump in. I will. It's not what I had on my paper, but for the fact that you said that I predicted this months ago, I can't not go with it. So it has to stand.
Honestly,
The 49ers to win the...
if you've managed to pick the Super Bowl and the MVP at the start of the season, we need to sort some sort of prize, reward, dare I say the forbidden word, trophy out for you as a, just think if you'd have put 50p on it, let's put it that way. I told a mate of mine to put 50p down on the 49ers winning the Super Bowl the weekend before the season started. I saw him a couple of weeks ago. I was like, do you remember that 50p bet I told you? Well, we're about a few hours away from the possibility of it coming true.
So 49ers CMC.
Yeah, I can't not now.
I think it would be very foolish for you to at this point go away from that particular flavour. Yeah. So it comes down to the Niners fan himself. Is he going to stick with his pre-season prediction of a Niners win and a Bosa MVP?
No.
Oh, no!
I think that, I mean, the way Kansas City have played through the playoffs has been scary, and the Niners' defense is not as advertised, shall we say. I think in the playoffs they're through the season I think they've been averaging 4 yards. They're giving up 4 yards every run. So my maths mean, my basic maths there means 3 downs, running at 4 yards a down. That's 12 yards. That seems like pretty easy to move the ball on the Niners. And as the Chiefs have done through the playoffs, they've got out to a big early lead quite quickly, and then defended that lead. And the Niners have done the opposite of that. They've let people get out to leads and then come back. So I've gone with the Chiefs and Mahomes to win.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Nick Bosa's obviously he's a stud, but I just can't remember many games this season where he's been the guy, and certainly not in the postseason.
It's the changes that they made though. Like obviously they've added Chase Young, and when they signed Chase, I mean the defense was good at the start of the season. And who's the other guy on the other defense fence? They got 3.
Trent Williams.
Trent Williams. Oh no, he's the offensive lineman. I can't remember his name. But the other defenseman, and they were kind of doing really well, and then it kind of went away a bit, and then they got Chase Young, and you thought, right, yeah, it's over. Those 3 on the front is just going to cause absolute bother all the time, and it hasn't. hasn't caused the bother that it's meant to. Fred Warner, he's linebacker though. He's just all over the shop. And that's the thing that puts me off. Thinking Kelsey, he might keep Kelsey quiet because he'll get stuck into Kelsey kind of pretty quickly. It's the kind of balance of the Niners start slowly, the Chiefs start very, very quickly, and you can just see them like eating up a good chunk of the first quarter, and then Purdy's going to sit on the side and then come in a bit cold, and then the Niners might have just 7 points by the half, and then how they're going to come back if they're 20, like 14-7 down, something like that.
That's the thing. So the worry for me would be if they get themselves into a situation like they did against the Ravens earlier in the season, when they got behind in the game, and then Purdy just thought, I've got to do something here to try and claw it back, and he just imploded, and he threw 4 interceptions, and they ended up getting creamed and stuff like that.
I think the worst thing that the Niners can do is send Purdy out there, which I presume they do every week, and I know this is how all football teams play. You've got your first 15 plays, and I think the Niners go, right, there's your first 15 plays, now go out there and play. And he just seems completely hamstrung by it. He sits in the pocket, he takes sacks, and the game plan seems to go, but then as they make their adjustments and move into the second half, he's allowed to be a bit freer with the game book and lets him move around in the pocket and stuff like that. He's very quick. Like last week, nearly 50 yards worth of rushing because he was moving out of the pocket, realising that he didn't have anything on, so then ran instead. But for the first 15 to 30 plays, they're all scripted. It's all sorted. This is what we're doing. And that seems to restrict his kind of play. And I think if they do that again, the Niners could find themselves a long way behind before they've got to come back. And you kind of run out of time quickly in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting one. We are going to step away momentarily just to recharge our glasses, as it were. And we'll come back with some more of our thoughts and feelings on how the game's going to pan out. But we are just going to step away momentarily. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back with you in just a few moments.
Recording in progress.
Yes, and just like that, we're back at it. So, Mr. Cook, I understand you have some a little bit of games you'd like to play with us.
It's just something small. So, thanks to the Stats Mistress, we found out how the teams stack up on paper. But I think she was like, I feel like I'm supposed to have a job. And I was like, well, there's no stats. We did the stats. She was like, leave that one with me. So, gentlemen, thanks to the Stats Mistress, I can tell you the average price for a ticket to the Super Bowl for the last 5 years. However, the 5th year in question is this year. So, thought we'd play a little game. I'm going to tell you the average price of the last 4 years, and you're going to tell me what the price of this year's average Super Bowl ticket is. Closest to the pin wins.
I'm disappointed you haven't gone full Brucey here and done higher or lower.
Or we each get a tolerance, and we're allowed to be as much as under, but not 1 penny over.
So, gentlemen, weirdly, we start with Super Bowl 54, which was Hard Rock Stadium, Miami Gardens, Florida. Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers. The average price of the ticket was $6,500. $569. Now, I know what you're thinking, gentlemen. You're thinking, who is paying that kind of money? Those are the cheap ones, apparently. So, Super Bowl 55 was at the Raymond James Stadium, Tampa, Florida. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. In reduced capacity, the average price of a Super Bowl ticket was $11,840. Super Bowl 56, SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California, Los Angeles Rams versus the Cincinnati Bengals, taking it down ever so slightly to $10,322 average dollars. Super Bowl 57 took us to the State Farm Stadium, Glendale, Arizona. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. $8,907. Now we've seen a range there, gentlemen. And I'm going to give you this. Super Bowl 58, Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. The San Francisco 49ers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. How many dollars will you need to get you the average ticket? Write it down, have it in your head, whichever you want to go with.
I would have thought that there are two ways to look at this, and one of them would be it's Vegas. The other one would be I am never going. I'll jump in first and say $12,142.
Okay, I'm going to start writing these down. Stu, yours is 12,142.
Yep.
So I typed this out before anyone said anything.
12.
It's not going to focus. 12,369.
And Matt, to round us out.
I've gone 14,467.
Vegas, man. Telling you.
Swifties.
Vegas.
Fucking
Vegas.
Swifties.
Vegas, you could probably stick another 5-6 grand on top of whatever the price was, to be honest with you.
Obviously, we went from a reasonably low last year to the highest of the last 5 years. I can tell you right here and now, Stuart Woodmansey is the winner of this little game because $12,082 will get you the average ticket to this year's Super Bowl.
And congratulations, Stu. Your prize is that you get the ticket to the Super. Yeah.
Wait, no. You're breaking up. I can't hear you. What? I'm driving through the canyon. I'm jogging in the canyon.
On YouTube that can see the Stats Mistress bust into the background and start on Andy now for spending that money.
It's a physical ticket. It's just a used one that'll be sent to you on Monday.
Yes, it will. Yeah. My first question was, who the hell is paying $12,000? I know there was a point. I think it was in the is it in the Jason Kelsey documentary where his wife was going mental because he was saying that the kids could go to the Super Bowl. She was like, "We are not buying Super Bowl tickets," and everybody was like, "He's in the Super Bowl. Why does he not get them for free?"
Well, we had this conversation because if you think about it, so if you just take the active starting roster for each team that's in the Super Bowl, that's 106 players. So then, if you factor in staff and practice team, oh, hang on.
Is that Jason Kelsey pissed up Funko Pop?
Yep. I just thought, as soon as you mentioned his name, I'd pop it on the screen for those viewers on YouTube.
Yeah, so if you just take the starting roster, that's 106 players across the two teams. Then you've got all of the staff, which is probably about the same number again. Then you've got all of the sort of the backroom team, like the sort of the head office and stuff like that. Then you've got other people from the organisation. You're looking at about 300 to 400 people across potentially both teams that would lay claim to tickets. So there's only going to be so many tickets that are given out to each team for the actual game. So say if you can get 65,000 into Allegiant Stadium, there's maybe squared off between sort of like 3,000 and 6,000 to give out to each team, maybe.
I bet they don't give any tickets out. I would fully expect the fact that everybody's got to buy their own ticket.
That's crazy.
I know that the majority of the tickets for any Super Bowl are given away. Like 70% of the tickets, like 70% of the people there did not pay for their tickets. They either won them in competitions, they're corporate tickets where the NFL has given, like, sent them down the line and somebody in some office somewhere won the chance to go to the Super Bowl and stuff like that. So I think when it talks about the average price, it takes a lot of that into account. Like, if you go into the Super Bowl and you're paying to go to the Super Bowl, you want to be there. You really want to be there. I know there'd been like a podcast of somebody I listened to. This is the first year his wife has taken interest in going to the Super Bowl. I can't imagine why. And he was like, we're absolutely not going to the Super Bowl. Because I imagine he had some idea of how much those tickets were going to be. And she was like, oh, but come on, it'll be fun. You've always wanted to go. And he's like, yeah, with my mates. So it was a bit like, yeah, I don't care how much I would want to go. I don't care how much I would want to see it and see it live. You're not getting 12 grand out of me. It's that simple.
Christian McCaffrey's missus had said they looked into a suite, and it was going to be $2.5 million. $2.5 million.
I saw a video the other day.
Like, absolutely not.
Yeah, I saw a video the other day of what you get for your $2.5 million, and the majority of it is food based. Like, there's so much of it is just food and drink and stuff. And obviously, some people would consider that that's a great segue.
Just imagine $2.5 million worth of corn dogs.
It was all like sushi, and like there was many chefs there and all of that. But yes, what I was alluding to there is we need to get down to the real meat of the matter and talk about what everybody's eating on Sunday.
So I'll start us off here because I'm going to be the anomaly because I'm going into town to watch the game.
Yeah.
So my food choices will be dictated by where the group goes. So
Pizza shop then. That'll be it.
Oh, it'll probably be more of a sit-down job than a just get and run.
We're not talking about after the food, Paul. Where are you going to eat?
Yeah, I'm just turning up at the prerequisite time and doing what I need to do.
So
sadly, my food situation will be very little.
So I have managed to confirm that the last time a takeaway was eaten in this house was the Super Bowl last year, and in sticking with tradition, an agreement has been made to let the dog off the chain. However, to make this possible, I had to do some maths, which worked out that I was going to average 2,500 calories a day. So I needed to then look at how many calories were going to be in the average takeaway, to then boil it down to how many calories I needed to get to Sunday of my average 2,500 calories. Now then, shortest version is, if I don't eat all day Saturday and I don't eat all day Sunday, which I wouldn't eat on a Sunday anyway until tea time, I can combine those calories to bring me to the final number of its takeaway o'clock. I believe that there is also, we're going all out in the Cook household. We try and zone in on American-based things for that one day. So in keeping with that, we are allegedly making a trip to a Canadian coffee shop in the afternoon, which probably doesn't quite fit in. But yeah,
It's too late for the Grey Cup.
the stats mistress heard that we were allowed to, go crazy this week, and has well and truly gone crazy this week. I'm just hiding under the table most of the time while she throws varieties of, takeaway menus at me, and I'm like, Stu, is the snack helmet cleaned and ready to go?
The helmet is primed. We are ready for liftoff, as it were. However, the snack helmet is solely for use during game time. There is a whole host of other stuff happening first. So, as you may have heard me talking on other podcasts, I have two young boys, and they last season took a little bit of an interest in watching some NFL. It's a little bit past their bedtime, obviously, for most of it, but they got to watch like the first hour of Red Zone, and again that's continued a little bit this season. But the thing that really piqued their interest last year was when it came to Super Bowl weekend, and we had full on American tea, as they like to denote it. So the plan is to have like tea at the normal time, but as you rightly said, base it fully in the American ways. So tea will consist of some Joe's with some chili. It's going to have some chili dogs as well, so you put a bit of spare use to that chili. But as we sit here and record the podcast this evening, the good lady wife is currently looking at recipes for, rather than it being like standard chili, to kind of have it infused with bits of pulled pork as well. So just to really flesh it out. But in terms of like the snack helmet, has a standard pattern by now that has been nailed down over the last few years since having it, and that's the main bucket where the crisps or chips, if you're that way inclined, reside. Has to be a mixture of 50% peanut butter puffs, because why would you not? And then 50% more meat-based flavourings of some sort of barbecue crisps, which it sounds possibly weird to mix peanut butter and barbecue, but it absolutely works. And then the tiny tray in the front is where you get a little bit more sweetness going on, and that will be reserved for what is my personal favourite of the American hard candies, maybe as it's referred to, and that would be peanut M&Ms. I mean, if you if you were actually in the States, perhaps you would have more free access to such things as the chocolate brownie M&Ms, which are excellent. But yeah, unfortunately, they're not quite as readily available here. So yeah, that's the plan. Finish it off with some sweet M&Ms. Plus, as well, by the time it's like whatever time it is in the morning here, you need that little bit of a sugar boost to just kick you along a little bit.
What about maybe a chocolate coated coffee bean?
No, because I tried that once before, and unfortunately that train has well and truly left the station.
Quickly.
Matthew, that brings us to you.
We've got nothing settled yet. I presume I'll be doing maybe a trolley dash around Lidl or somewhere like that might have like their usual fares in. The communications with the other person involved in this, she's in Mexico, so yeah, the negotiations are tough. That decision will probably be made Saturday, or I'll just make it tomorrow probably. My lunch hour will be there.
It's like South American twang to it.
I hadn't even sort of like considered the fact that she's not that far away from where the Super Bowl is being played.
Yeah. Wrong side.
In the grand scheme of it.
Cancun, she's a lot closer than we are, but yes. Yeah. She made her own guacamole, so, you know, she brought that back with her. Well, hopefully she's not bringing that back with her, because Christ almighty, that'll be a disaster. But she knows how to make it anyway.
I'm pretty sure that customs won't trace her via this podcast as the.
But yes, so no firm decisions made, but pretzel bits. I like the old pretzel pieces.
The honey mustard ones.
Honey and mustard. Just a mixed handful. The honey and mustard with the jalapeno at the same time. Yes, please.
Oh, man. Yes, please.
Red vines and twisters. I like those kind of things. Any kind of dirty American sweets. I mean, I'm a sweet guy. I like sweets anyway. I'm a sweet guy. So any sweets, I'm like fully on board with. So yeah, I'll be in Lidl. I think generally Lidl's the place to get your theme weeks, as it were.
I can confirm as well. I saw the leaflet last time out, and they are going at it. I have just had a last minute request through via the text message to say maybe some milkshakes and Oreos as well.
Oh, nice, yes.
Yeah, the only problem with the milkshake is obviously if you're partaking of the adult beverages, the milkshakes can lay a bit heavy.
Whiskey in, come on.
I think that was probably aimed more at the lads at tea time than it was for me during game time. Was the
either way? Well, whiskey and milkshake sorted.
Well, they'll sleep before the game, I suppose.
And to be honest with you, that is on quite nicely from a beverage perspective. What's most people's tipple of choice going to be? Are they going to try and stay on brand, keep it Merkin?
I mean, New England IPA or maybe a West Coast IPA or something like
surely
that.
You need to be Westies.
I feel like I'm letting the side down a little bit beer-wise at the moment because the cupboard is somewhat dry. I think I've still got about 3 stouts left, and that does not scream Americana to me. So,
well, I'm staying up for the game with it, stout.
Yeah.
Sadly, I think my choices.
One of them is the s'mores Toncoco, so that's kind of close.
Oh yeah.
There you go. That's kind of American. I may be very limited to the pub choice, so it's looking like it's either going to be Coors or Budweiser if I'm going to try and stay on American brand. We'll see.
I know which one I would pick out of the two, and it isn't the coloured branding that I'm currently wearing.
What, the king of beers?
No, I think that came about from being misheard, because I think originally someone went, Budweiser, and I went, That's not King beer.
Ah. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I believe.
There it is.
Yeah, done and dusted.
Yes, we will reconvene somewhere around this time next week to review how the scores went, who won the predictions, our review of the Super Bowl as a whole. Obviously, we won't be able to review the halftime show because that doesn't exist. And yes, join us for a little end to the season, little chit chat about the Super Bowl and the end of the season. But until then, it's what it's all been about, people. So enjoy your Super Bowls, enjoy your snack helmet goodness, get that takeaway. Enjoy your Canadian donuts, and yes, join us next week where we'll be in review mode. Until then, it's bye from myself, my glamorous co-host, and our wonderful guests, and we shall see you next time. Tatty byes. So there we go. That's that. Super Bowl predicted. All that's left now is to watch it and find out how our predictions were. If you want to send us your prediction, get involved. You can jump to the CookieCast website, thecookiecast.com, click the email button, send us your prediction. If you get any of the predictions correct, we'll read them out next week, send you a prize. Before you leave us, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. And as always, share the podcast around. Right. This is it. This is what we've been working towards. Strap in, people. It's going to be something, that's for sure. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to this episode of CookieCast.